Hey, welcome everyone. We're so excited to have you here and to embark on this journey of self-love and renewal with you. This series is about embracing the most powerful healer, which is love, right? We have love that we can use to heal ourselves and to help emit that love into others and elevate our own lives in different ways. So love for ourselves, love for our bodies, and for our health. And today we do start that foundation of learning how to love ourselves first. And Amy's going to take us through a little meditation to begin our night here.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. So, before we dive in, I want to take a moment to just ground ourselves. So, if you can close your eyes, as long as no one's driving, just take a moment to close down and take a deep breath in and a bigger breath out. I want you to picture breathing in love. And on the exhale, send that love to every cell in your body. And take another breath in, breathing in love. And this time, sending that love out into the universe, knowing that all the love that we create will come right back to us. With your eyes still shut, I want you to think of a time when you felt pure joy before stress, expectations, or self judgment clouded your light. Maybe this was when you were a child and you felt really free. Maybe it's on a vacation. Maybe it was a moment when you truly felt seen and heard and loved. And I want to remind you that that version of you is still here with you, and you're able to tap into that. So, when it feels good to you, I would love for you to think of one word that describes how you felt in that moment. If you could drop it in the chat, and let's just take a moment to acknowledge what we feel like when we can tap into that peace and love. Does anyone have a word that they came up with? I love that, Emma. Serenity. Open. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, open is great. Open is a really good place to be because we want to be open to um, receiving receiving the love and being open to making those changes as well.
Yeah. So tonight is about reconnecting to that pure, vibrant version of yourself. It's an act of love, a way of saying, I care enough about myself to let go of what longer serves us and make space for vitality and energy and joy. So I love more
Yeah.
words. So joy and peaceful. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah. So, what is true self-love? What does that look like to you? And what does loving myself look like? So, we need to look at that. Love is a verb, it's not just a feeling, it's the choices that we make. And by our actions and choices that we make, we can begin showing ourselves what that love looks like. And the relationship between self love and self care, and how honoring our body is a direct act of self love, right?
hmm And what does not loving ourselves look like? How did we get to the state sometimes where we are not loving ourselves? I know that it's been a long journey with me for learning how to love myself. Um, I didn't love myself for a very long time, and and I treated my body as such. I let other people treat my body as such. And I was searching for love in outside external sources, um, whether it was nourishing myself with a bag of Oreos or drinks or a man that like did not serve me at all. It stemmed from this deep rooted seed of not loving myself. And whether that came from childhood or trauma and all of it, but like it's there and it's something that we have to look at. Michelle, do you want to share?
Yeah, I was going to say that, like you said, it usually starts from our childhood, and we've been conditioned for so long to suppress a lot of these emotions or suppress our needs, to care for ourselves. And so, um, I did that throughout my life. We all do that, right? We all suppress those emotions. We all um, put ourselves last, put ourselves in the back burner, and we're always catering to other people and taking care of other people's needs first besides our own. And yeah, I was seeking um, outside validation uh, from things that were not serving my higher purpose, was not serving my for my good, seeking those relationships that usually fed my insecurities and fed those beliefs about myself because I was vibrating on that level to begin with, that vibration of lack of self-love. And so I was attracting these people who also didn't love themselves, and kept myself in that environment too long. And it's an ongoing process too, as we begin to wake up to that fact, wake up to loving ourselves differently. We start pulling away and eliminating things, pulling away from things that no longer serve us and eliminating things that no longer serve us. And it's that drawing out, is that being open to a new way of looking at how can I love myself? How can I do things differently? And how can I make these changes so that I can be of better service to, and show up for other people in a better way too. So,
Yeah.
the way we love ourselves um, sets the standards for how we love others, right? And for how we allow others to love us. And if we neglect our own needs and dismiss our worth or fail to care for ourselves, we send out that message to the world that this is what I believe I deserve. I don't deserve anything else. I deserve this. And likewise, the people in our lives are only capable of loving us to the depth that they love themselves. So if someone has not learned to honor their own body, their own emotions, their own well-being, they'll struggle to honor yours as well.
Yeah, we teach people how to love us. So,
Yeah, yes. And so take a moment and reflect on those things. Do you pour into yourself the way that you desire to be poured into? If someone observed how you care for your body and your emotions in your surroundings, would they see a reflection of deep love for yourself? What are some of those ways that you feel that you have neglected yourself? Does anyone have something they want to add to that? Are there ways that you see that you have shortchanged yourself or not have been there for yourself, basically? Mhm.
it's a deep question, so it's okay if no
Mhm.
one
Mhm.
feels called to share. But
I can say something. So I mean, pretty much it seemed like most of my life I always um, just did stuff for everybody else and then, would put myself last and then feel sorry for myself because of it, right? But also like movement, I think I really enjoy doing movement, but like I don't have like the will, it seems like, to just go do that by myself. Now, if like a group of people are gonna do it together or whatever, I love it. But like just doing that just for myself seems like weird to me. even though I feel like I want to, it just seems like a difficult task for me to do.
Mm.
I love that you brought that up. Yeah, because that's the main reason why Amy and I decided to come together is for community support because we need that. Even doing things, I mean, I have found that with myself through my own journey where there's that you know, you have that motivation initially to in that drive to want change and you want to make that change and you step in and you start doing it, but you're doing it all by yourself. And it's like, what does that look like? That's why I was asking the questions like, what does loving yourself look like? Do we even know? Like, it is a hard question because we are not loving ourselves. We're putting ourselves on the back burner. We don't know what that looks like. We don't have that community support to encourage us and on a daily basis to get us over that hump or ask those questions like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this today." You don't have to do it alone. We want that loving, supportive community to where we can guide you because we've been there.
Right. And thank you, Erica, for sharing. I think people pleasing is a big one. I'm a certified people pleaser. And, and that's definitely something that we work on or I work on. And I know a lot of people that are in the same boat or we're all one. Like we all are dealing with the same thing. And we always put ourselves in this little box and think that no one understands, but really, like, we're all doing this together, right?
We feel like we have to be everything, all at once to everybody and not having that support where it's like, it's okay. You can drop the bags right now. We're here to help you carry some of this weight and remove some of this weight that you're carrying that you don't have to carry anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just not physical weight. That's energetic weight and emotional weight, mental weight, all of that.
And
Yeah, I um can I say so? So I'm different. I tend to isolate myself from people.
mhm.
Trauma bonds, of course. Um, but yeah, I have a terrible tendency to isolate myself
Mm.
and do it all myself, you know, type A.
I do the same thing. I think Amy and I were just talking about that not that long ago. Was it this week when I was mentioning how my mother would say that about me? Was that you that I was talking to? How
Probably.
she would be like, "You never ask for any help. Like you just do things all by yourself all the time. Like, why don't you ever ask?" Like she used to say that to me. And it's because I'd want to tell her, well, kind of had to figure things out. No one's ever really been there for me. I've been wired that way and programmed that way.
Mm.
So yeah, especially if you are more prone to um, isolating. I do, and I've been this way since I've been a child too, where I've had to have 2 or 3 hours alone in my room, and my mom would make sure, and she would tell my siblings, "You need to leave Michelle alone. She's been like this her whole life. She needs to decompress and recharge." Like I had to do that. And so as an adult now, with my older kids leaving the home and I'm sharing custody with my younger three that are home, there's a lot of times where I'm at home alone. And that has fed into my isolation a lot. And I'm noticing that I'm like, oh, I don't have the structure any longer of husband, wife in the home and the 7 kids in the home and where I was distracted with taking care of everybody. Now I'm finding myself um, having these alone times and learning how to restructure that and learning how to reach out for support from other people to
Mhm.
keep me in line and accountable instead of retreating, which I know that a lot of us who do that tend to find comfort in that zone where we retreat and we're stuck in our own mind and we're not seeking out that help.
Yeah.
And
I,
we're helping others more than we help ourselves. That's
Yeah,
another one.
yes. Always overextending ourselves. We're always, pouring from the cup when we need to be filling that cup because what eventually happens is, you think that you're helping other people because you're checking things off the list, but are you really fully there emotionally and mentally and physically?
someone just mentioned COVID, and it's like I loved COVID. It didn't affect me at all.
Me too. I say that all the time.
Not not a drop. It was
I
fine.
was like,
I have, yeah, it was great. My
what do you
life
mean
is
you're
that
upset?
way, so yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean you're upset you can't go hang out at the restaurant or the I mean, people were complaining about not going to the bars or being able to meet at the bars. I'm like, what's the problem?
Right. As long as you have nature, to me, like nature and ocean right here, it's like, what more animals, and who needs anything more? Well, I didn't, right?
Exactly. Uh,
Yeah.
so so self-love really is not selfish. It is the foundation for a healthy relationship in our lives. As we begin this journey, I'd love for us to commit to this higher standard that not just for the love we give, but also for the love that we receive. Um, and self love doesn't have to be shaming or comparing others. Where you might find yourself in this journey, someone might not be there. Like we are all on different paths and different journeys, and everyone's at their own pace. So I think it's important to let others, like our friends and our partners and family, um, let them be, and everything is perfect for everyone. And what I have found that is just standing in my own example has been the best way to show others what's possible when we do find this self love. So, if anyone wants to share one way you can raise your standard of how you are loved and how you love yourself, I'd love to hear it. Um,
Yeah, sometimes that's just an awareness thing too, is digging deep and trying to figure out how name one thing that you do for yourself that you feel shows that you love yourself. Name one thing.
I've just been in the era of, I don't know, I feel like the last few months of the whole like let them era that I feel like we hear a lot of. And I've never been like that. I've been more of like uh very proactive in trying to be there and guide and change and just all the things where I'm
Repair.
just like, you know what? F it, let them.
yeah, I
And
bet that's
so
exhausting,
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how
And
does it feel to release that weight right now?
it's scary. I've been in the like most insecure state I think I've ever been in my life. And it's like, your mid 40s, that whole like midlife crisis kind of thing coming in. But it's just, I feel like at some point, especially as women, we're just like, forget this. Like, what am I doing? And so it's been scary, but I just keep reminding myself. And then when I go into those old patterns of wanting to send energy, send love, whatever it is, um, I'm like, wait, you need to send some of that back to yourself. Like, don't like let it all out. It's not like you can't love people or, you know, try to help in some way, but it's like, okay, now what do I need to be doing? Your friend's all freaked out that she's got to do this, this, and this. It's like, well, wait a minute. Your house is like trashed where you go over there and rescue them. What needs rescuing here?
Mm,
So that's
amazing.
kind
Good
of
observation.
that's where I'm at right now. That's the
Mm,
self-love I'm giving myself is to step back and try not to forget myself.
thank you, Erica. I would love for you to, like, our words matter so much. So instead of maybe that midlife crisis, maybe it's a midlife rebirth instead.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because you hear that so many times and you're like, is that what I'm having? You know?
We can make it beautiful. We don't
Yes,
mind,
I
you
like
know?
that.
Hey, Teresa, welcome. So let's talk about how we can love ourselves. So there are many ways, like we can talk about that. We're going to give some examples at the end of a different way to love yourself every single day of the week till next webinar. But we are going to touch on detoxification and taking care of our vessel, because you are sitting with two, or actually a couple more regenerative health practitioners in here. So we want to talk about detox as a gift of love for ourselves. So detoxification isn't just about like losing weight and resetting our bodies, but it's about reconnecting with that pure, vibrant version of yourself. It is an act of love, a way of saying I care enough about myself to, again, like let go of what no longer serves me, make space for vitality and energy and joy. When we remove toxins and lower vibrational people, situations, all of that, we are creating space in ourselves and energetically and physically for more light. And it's such a gift that we can give ourselves, and then that light shines, and it's a gift for other people to be around us. Um, so when we shift this mindset that detox is not a punishment, it is not restrictive, it's nourishment and renewal, especially in the way that Michelle and I do it with regenerative health. Like that is, we are nourishing deeply before we're taking anything out. So the detoxing can increase the energy, mental clarity, and emotional stability. And
Mhm.
it's beautiful. I started my journey with self-love and found regenerative health, and then was able to find myself even more, my true authentic self, not these other, the parasitic entities that were sucking on me and taking my energy. You know? So I'd like to guide you all on another little visualization exercise. So if you feel comfortable, again, shutting your eyes, I'd like you to imagine walking, imagine waking up in a body that feels lighter, clear, and full of energy. And your mind is sharp, your heart is open, and your body feels at ease. What would that version of you be doing differently? And how would they speak to themselves? So I'd love to invite like one or two of you to volunteer if you have any. What are you saying to yourself? What would you be doing differently?
I love this exercise because I was doing this again the other day, especially since we're in our weekly container on Thursdays and talking about our vision and stepping into our vision. And the other day, I kind of thought it's kind of like, um, I don't know if everyone here played with Barbies as a child. I'm assuming most girls have. And I was thinking of that, like the different hats that I would put on my Barbies and the different outfits. I even had a Brooke Shields Barbie as a child. I had a Brooke Shields Barbie. I had this Barbie called, her name was Darcy, and she was a tennis player and she had a tennis outfit. Um, and I thought, what a great way to like envision yourself when you're doing that visual as just a different character that you want to step in, whatever that vision is. If I envisioning myself as a successful regenerative health practitioner and I'm thriving, and what do I look like? What does that person look like? What does my office look like? What does my home space look like? What am I wearing? What am I eating on a daily basis? What am I thinking? What types of books am I consuming? And so I was thinking about those Barbies. I'm like, I can just visualize the Barbie that I, want to step in today, the outfit that I want to step in today, and kind of envision that and just kind of support that, whatever works for you, however you can envision your ideal self. What does that person look like, and how is that person talking to themselves and loving themselves today?
Mhm. And
Maria Austin, the Barbie.
I And creating that vision and like holding that vision every day, like stepping into that person that you want to be, the person that you are transforming into. Um, our energy and our intentions are so powerful. So it's like a little Joe Dispenza stuff, like calling in your future self and sitting in her energy.
Yeah. Does anyone want to share a vision that they have of themselves or drop it in the chat?
Well, I just want to say I mean, it's constant, it's constant work, to be kind, compassionate, accepting, and forgiving. It's it's constant mindfulness. And when you're not brought up that way, for me, it's taken like years to have like episodes of it and allow others to criticize you and not be triggered. It's constant work. It's hard
Yes.
to step into. That's where I would like to be, of course. Kinder, compassionate, accepting, and more forgiving. Um, and I mean, I think one has to clean. I'm on Anthony Williams, medical medium. I don't know if anyone knows that here.
Mhm.
And that's brought me from my deathbed back to running around like crazy. And that takes constant work too, to nourish your body, to eat healthy, to spend hours juicing and making all these concoctions, and buying supplements. So it's like a
And so you've
goal.
already implemented some self-love just by going through that work of changing your diet and doing things differently. And it's reprogramming the mind, removing the old programming and having that day-to-day reminder of what are we removing again today? Because it'll keep coming back up until it's completely gone, right? Those habits just come right back. And we just have to be there with that bat to hit the balls as they're coming, right?
Right.
And
It's just something like you guys said. I don't know. I'm still trying to get my head around it. It's like stepping the Barbie, like envisioning.
mhm.
It takes time to envision that new. It takes time to step into this new body that I have. It's like
Yeah, especially
losing
when
a
the
lot of
feelings are
weight. Yeah.
disconnected, right? Because you're feeling something different and your thoughts are something different, but you're behaving in something different. And it's just marrying those two, bringing those two together, the thoughts and the feelings, and then the actions, and then bringing
Just
that
takes
whole.
time.
hmm So, what are some things that you do that may not be loving towards yourself? So, when you're not loving yourself, it's toxic to the body. And toxins can block love and vitality from our body. They can block the light from our body.
Yeah,
When we
you know
think of
something,
toxins,
I think we do. I like, sorry, you asked, like answer that question. It's the shoulds. I do. You should meditate. You should, eating I've got totally fine. You should meditate. You should have been kinder to that person. You should have given that client more time. Those shoulds.
and it's removing that language too. Yeah, do not should all over yourself.
Yeah,
Exactly,
it's so
Shannon.
true, Shannon.
Yeah,
It's so
instead of I
true.
should, yeah. What have, and a way to redirect yourself too is, instead of focusing on what you didn't do or what you should have done, what did you do? And it might be small, like highlight, start speaking that way towards yourself. You know what? I did a really good job today. I put gas in my car and didn't let it
Right,
run empty for
right.
the first time in 2 months.
Right, and that's a total reprogramming, right? You got to
Yeah.
reprogram this
Saying
brain
something
again.
nice to yourself, like, I
Right.
am not that bad. I did accomplish stuff today. Why am I beating myself up over all this other stuff? But yeah, and that's toxic to the body. That creates a chemical reaction in the body. There's all of our feelings create a chemical reaction, as we know, and as some of us know, I should say, in the regenerative world. And so that's toxicity to the body. That's going to weigh the body down. And so we usually think of toxins as poisonous chemicals, right?
Yeah.
And they come in all forms. And we have the physical toxins like the processed foods, the chemicals in the foods, the stagnant waste in the body from those toxins, emotional toxins, self-doubt, feelings there that are stored in our tissue, right? The trauma that's stored in our tissue.
Yeah.
Energetic toxins like the negative thought patterns that we're talking about, other people's energy. We're our own problem to begin with, and then we have to bring in someone else's bioenergetic field and clash with that. So other people's energy we can take on and absorb. And then we have generational conditioning too that's been passed down that we need to dig and uncover as well and remove. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of just gauge yourself here. And I'm going to ask you 3 questions. How energized do you feel on a daily basis? Do you feel like you have energy on a scale of 1 to 10?
Is 10 high energy?
Yes, with 10 being the highest. Okay. But how about your mood? How balanced would you say your mood is on a scale of 1 to 10? And then how often do you feel overwhelmed or stuck where you're at? Okay. So we have a lot of that are above fives. And these numbers, they're not anything to judge yourself or bring yourself down on. They're simply just a starting point for awareness. Like, where am I? Where am I energetically on these levels? And so now that you have this awareness, what are some ways that you can begin loving yourself this week? And will you commit to at least one thing a day on loving yourself? Can we do that?
I saw some heavy thinking right there.
Mhm.
You guys are so worth it and worthy of loving yourself deeply.
So we have some prompts that you can begin implementing this week um, with different things. We have from day 1 through day 7. You can write these down. I think we're going to put this in the chat as well to focus on. Day 1, speak to yourself with kindness. Pay attention to your inner dialogue today. Replace self-criticism with affirmations, and then practice every day. Each time you catch yourself thinking negatively about yourself, pause and reframe it with a loving thought. For example, I should be doing more. Say, I am doing my best, and that is enough. Change the languaging. Um, Catch yourself because you're aware now, right? You're going to be aware of what you're saying. Day 2, maybe focus on nourishing your body intentionally. Show your body love by giving it what it needs: the hydration, fresh foods, rest, and then practice that. Drink an extra glass of water today. Add an extra serving of greens or a power shake, or take a moment to enjoy your meal with gratitude. Day 3, set loving boundaries. Honor yourself with setting a healthy boundary with your time, your energy, and your emotions. Practice saying no to something that drains you, or protect your time by limiting distractions. That one I was having a hard time. I've been really practicing saying no to things, and I just say yes to everybody because I want to help everyone all the time. Like, yeah, sure. Oh my gosh, I have 100 million things that I just said yes to on that day, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, I find myself doing that a lot. Um, or did, and I'm really saying no to a lot of things because I need to love myself first, right? And day 4, connecting with your inner child. Reconnect the joyful part of yourself that you may have neglected, or maybe revisiting a wound that you had as a younger child, and going in and healing that and correcting that picture, that vision, or that memory that you have. So do something fun as well. Be carefree, act like a child, dance, sing, color. Um, we do a lot of dancing and singing in this house. My kids love music and movement, so I get to be silly a lot in that way, which I love. I think that's really helped besides having a lot of children, I think acting silly a lot has kept me feeling and looking young. Um, Day 5, detox your mind and space, clear out old energy by decluttering your environment and thoughts. So practice releasing one negative thought pattern and physically clean or organize a small space in your room. Just changing those things, decluttering mind and space. Day 6, move your body with love. Movement is also a way that we can show our body appreciation and not punishment. Stretch, dance, go for a walk, do some gentle yoga, whatever feels good. You take a hot bath and just lay there, and soak and be be in our mind. Like, Estee and I love to shut down and retreat. Like bath time is a great way to do that too and get into your mind and release some negative thoughts. And then creating a self-love ritual, day 7, make self-love a consistent practice by setting a new routine that nourishes you. So create that ritual, a morning affirmations in the morning when you get up. Change something that you do in the morning rather than just, go to the bathroom and go make that cup of tea or whatever. Maybe stop and pause and decide to do some morning affirmations in front of the bathroom mirror instead.
Like,
Um,
I have sticky notes all over my house now about self-love. And like, so if these affirmations, like if they need to sink in, you need to visually see them and repeat them and like stick them in your drawer so that you pull out your underwear and you have like a you are beautiful. Like it works. Works.
as that constant reminder because we're trying to break some habits and old patterns and old programming. So we do need those constant reminders, not just from like sticky notes, because that helps us, right? But the importance of having community and other people there to support you to keep those daily reminders at the forefront and fresh in your mind as often as possible, daily and throughout the week. Um, and so, yeah, keeping a journal this week on and reflecting on these habits is going to be super helpful too in what you've implemented, in what you've changed, and what you've removed, and how you've loved yourself throughout the week. And so that power of setting intention is huge for the whole process of change. And that's what our cohort is going to provide. Amy and I are launching our first cohort together at the end of this month on February 28th. And that's what we'd really love to focus and highlight on is that accountability and the group support, the community, and making these changes together. Because Amy and I are still growing and changing and removing old habits and patterns. And we just love to be able to walk right alongside you and show you that we're just as real as you. We have things buried and habits that we're still trying to remove. And yeah, I'd like to be able to support the whole group and community with that.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions before I'm going to kind of close this out with a little meditation? But does anyone have any
Yeah, I just have a
comments?
question. Like, what is the format of the 4 weeks? Like, what is the content?
The 4 weeks of
Is there
this,
a
this
I mean,
webinar
is there a
series?
program or is it just, some idea, like, what is it? Sorry.
I'm sorry, are you asking about the next 4 weeks, like in
Yeah,
February or the?
yeah.
Oh, it's just going to be next week we're going to be talking about detoxing your ex and like how the energetics of people can intertwine with us and how parasites are passed and like we're going to go deep into talking about this. Like today is about us and next week is going to be about relationships with others. um, the third week we're going to be talking about the heart body connection, love as a healing force. And the fourth week we're going to be talking about nourishing your heart and body practices for lasting renewal. So each week is going to be a little different. We're going to just come together and have a conversation and then after that we are going to be starting our cohort for those that want to go deeper and be held and really learn how to put this in practice and with some guidance and protocols, and we're all going to do it together.
And what does the cohort involve? Sorry, I'm just, planning this brain.
Yeah. Well, we'll send you information after, with more information, but the cohort is 16 weeks. So it's enough for us to really dig in, where everyone gets their own protocol. You'd be working with Michelle and I to develop something that is like, we don't do blanket protocols. I muscle test, Michelle does too, and we will fine tune things as you go. So we work 1 month at a time. Like Kate has already joined us, and so she's already started. She's already rolling with hers. And it's just going to be accountability. We're going to be meeting weekly. We're also going to be once a month having a special guest, like a breathwork person come in, like Alana's coming in, Emma. And uh, Michelle, what else are we doing? I've been writing all of this for, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's basic. Yeah, you've covered it all. Yeah, we have that just this group container, and we're going to take you through 16 weeks of personalized protocols where we have both Amy and I looking at your iris report. I mean, we do an in-depth personalized protocol and then walk you through not only changing your physical dietary habits, it's changing that mindset and the emotional aspect to it and tying everything together and then having that accountability through this community. And we just dive deep. We go in and we're going to dive deep into the other emotional aspects, especially because a lot of the emotional aspects is what is bogging us down physically. So, and having that container, right, with people that we can support each other with and carry each other through the 16 weeks, and you're not doing it alone.
Yeah. What we've seen, what my clients I've seen, when I just check in with them once a month, um, they might not even be following the right protocol. They have read something wrong, or, and then it's a month that goes by and we've just wasted that time. And so by checking in each week and staying close to the fire, I see my clients like thrive, and they're sticking to their protocols more. And we're going to do the emotional work too. And you're going to learn why you're doing this and what is the root cause. And like, I know when I'm doing something, it gives me more satisfaction when I have the deeper knowledge of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Helps me learn how to do it and stick to it better. So that's gonna be part of it too. It's education.
Mhm. The
We want
education.
you guys to like ripple this out and be able to share it with your family, like, and we want the container to hold you while you may be the only person in your family doing this, and that's not easy. So having someone to come together, like detox isn't always rainbows and sunshine. Like, it can go up and down. There's bad times and good times. Like, the old stuff is going to come up. And we've been repressing it so long. We've been taught to take a pill for the symptom, and it's not going anywhere. It's just been in our tissues. So, like, the way we work this is it has to come up and out. So we do that together and hold each other through the good times and the bad times.
Yeah, I've had clients like that too, where it's I haven't talked to them in a month, and I come back and they're like, "Oh, I still have 2 bags of this left. I was only like, what?
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it just
Why didn't you
does. Like,
call
we
me?"
all need support. I have a practitioner I work with. Like, I have, it's helpful to have that support.
hmm And efficient. I'm not a time waster. I don't like wasting anyone's time, and I don't like anyone wasting my time either. I'm very type A like that. And um, I feel like my clients love that they're not wasting product, or they're not, it's not 6 months later when they could have gotten something done in 3 months. Yeah, and they're not having to backtrack and we have to start all over again. So,
Yeah. And every week you'll have things that you'll be opening in your community. They'll be like, uh, we're not going to be on Facebook or in a Facebook group or anything. It's like a private thing, but also like week one, you'll get education and videos to watch, and then we'll come together once a week. So it's like something to do on your own as well as the group time too.
And then having that communication throughout the week in the group with the other fellow participants, and then our input as well, and then one-on-ones. Mhm.
Thanks for asking. Is there any other comments or commitments that we're gonna do one of these, at least one of these self-love things? Cool.
Who's coming back
I
next?
I was gonna say I liked one thing that I when Michelle was talking about like, oh, you put gas in your car. I think I'll start kind of writing, maybe like when I'm writing down gratitudes or whatever, writing down, like things that I just did for myself. Um, not the shoulds or the berating, but I like even just things that simple of I did this for myself today or whatever. Did a good job at whatever. Um, I I just think that will be helpful for me, and it'll be really easy to add. Like it's not a huge piece of homework. So I liked that. It feels simple and very doable. So, and I think it will start to reverse some thinking. So, yeah.
It does. And like Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about neuroplasticity and changing our mindset by rewiring those neurons in the brain. And this just by our thoughts alone can do that. And so and that's why, like he says too, if it's too far reaching to say about yourself, don't say it. Say something that's true. And it can be as simple. That's why I brought up that example of, I put gas in it. That sounds so stupid and simple, but it's true. And so, and my body knows it's true. My body knows that I put gas in my car and I did that. And so that resonates as truth. And so taking those little things that might seem simple to somebody else is huge by programming yourself to start recognizing little things that you're doing for yourself
Mhm.
and start to see how that just will compound and into bigger things that you didn't even think that you were doing for yourself, right? It may be something small that you're going to write down on day one, but by next week, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I hadn't realized like this is what I started doing, or I changed this. Like I
Yeah.
hadn't given myself or taken a bubble bath in years, and I did that the other day and I wrote it down and just that awareness, yeah, of what am I doing or what can I do? But being aware, putting yourself first and loving yourself first primarily and starting your day out that way. In my car, I have a sticky note that's right down by where my shifter's at. And it says, what are you grateful for today? And sometimes it just becomes, monotonous because I see it every day, but I force myself to answer that question. And on most days, it's truthfully, I'm very, very grateful. But on most days, I have been saying the last couple months that I'm grateful that I opened my eyes this morning and I have another chance to make today even better or accomplish, some goals. But just the fact that I open my eyes and I have breath of life and I have another opportunity to be in my children's lives and meet new people or impact someone else's life. I am very thankful for that. So just practicing that personal gratitude or that thankfulness
Mhm.
or that recognition of what you did is huge as in developing that muscle of how can I find more ways to be more grateful and loving towards myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how it could roll into bigger things. Like you said, initially it might be like I drank one extra glass
Yeah.
of water today. Yay me. But I can see what you're saying, how then as you accumulate those, then it's like, oh boy, what am I gonna get to write down that I did today? And you're like, oh, I haven't taken a bath in forever. And so then you're like looking forward to I can see the shift. And I've had therapists tell me like when you put those little notes like around your house or in your car or whatever, that you do, obviously you start habituating them. And that it was like, like once a week you shift where you put them. So you move them from the car and you put them on your, kitchen cabinet door or the bathroom mirror or somewhere. And you switch the notes around, or you get rid of the "you are beautiful" note and you switch it out to a different attribute about yourself or a different mantra, so that you're constantly kind of changing it up, so when you go to read it, it's a little different message or it's in a different place, and it
Yes.
doesn't come as as much as something that you just
It
habituate and
doesn't start to blend into the wall like a
yeah,
wallflower.
yeah,
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 you're literally making intentionally making yourself aware by
yeah.
tricking your mind. Because
Right,
yeah,
right.
we are on autopilot all the time, and everything that we walk past, we just ignore. Our mind is absorbing it. We just start to ignore it because it just becomes so mundane, so regular as the background. And that's a great tip to switch up our little notes
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, we
Very
don't
good.
sensory process as well as we all think we do, that's for sure. Um, yeah, anyway, I had something else, but I forgot it. So, okay.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for that. Uh, I remember when I was like super depressed and I couldn't do anything for myself, I had to start by like pretending I was doing my dishes for someone else that I loved. And that was almost easier. And then it's become, okay, what can I do for myself? And now it's like, how can I set myself up for tomorrow? And like, I'll do my dishes, and just, or I'll get the gas so that I have an easier day tomorrow and stuff like that. So we just have to start where we can start and do the best we can.
Mhm.
When I was teaching, oh God, many, many moons ago, but when I was teaching this stress management thing, one of the things that we would always say is like, when you get rid of the, I have to, I should, I ought to, and replace it to I want to, um, that can help, because sometimes you're like, oh, I should really do my laundry tonight. And sometimes if you replace it with, I want to do my laundry tonight, sometimes the answer is like, well, I do, because tomorrow night I'm going out with friends and I'm going to that band that I like. So I do want to do laundry tonight. And sometimes when you shift it, you realize that some of those shoulds are like, well, I actually do want to get that done. Because then that frees up time for me to go out in Mother Nature or whatever. So it is interesting that sometimes when you shift it, you might be surprised how often your shoulds are wants, and it just feels better to language it that way. And then you're still doing that thing that you should do.
Yeah.
And then other times it's, no, I don't want to. I'm going to let it, pile up a little bit longer or whatever. But it is interesting to see when you replace it, if that, if it's something that you really want to do and you're creating it as a chore in your head when maybe it isn't, if that makes
Right. Oh, totally. Our words
sense.
matter. Or even switching it to like, I get to. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people don't
Yeah.
have a laundry to,
Right.
in their
Right.
house. So I
Exactly.
get to do my laundry,
Exactly.
So
Good
everything is
point
like
there. Yeah.
reciprocity.
The gratitude of it as well, for sure. And the privilege that you are able to, do laundry and that type of thing as well, for sure.
Yeah. Kind of humbling. So thank you. Thanks for this conversation, everyone. Thanks for participating and being here and sharing your energy. Um, thank you. I'm glad that we're getting some good feedback. So thank you. If we're kind of complete, I'm gonna shut us down. Does everyone feel good with that? Cool. Um, so I'm sorry, I lost my notes. All right, so I would love for you to place your hand on your heart. And feel your heartbeat your constant, steady rhythm that reminds you that you are alive, you are here, and you are worthy. Take a deep breath in and out, and whisper to yourself, I love you. I am enough. I am worthy of renewal. You are worthy of feeling good. You are worthy of healing. And you are worthy of loving yourself deeply, fully, and unapologetically. And Michelle and I are very excited to continue this journey with you this month. So thank you guys so much. If you have any takeaways, you can put in the chat. And yeah, I will send out that list again in your follow-up email with the replay about the one thing we can do every day. And we will be here, same time, same place, same email, same Zoom link even next week at Thursday at 7 Central, 6 Mountain. So
And removing your ex and all that
detoxing
crap
your
that
ex. I'm really excited about
comes
this one.
with it. That's my favorite part. I can't wait.
Yeah, and Matthew will be on, my partner, and he's a really amazing energetic worker, and I actually worked with him when I went through the most probably toxic relationship of my life, and he helped me before we were dating. So it'll be cool. We were talking about what we're doing. It's going to be fun. So
Great. All right. Thanks everyone for showing up tonight. Can't wait
thank
to see you
you.
next week.